geometry, lesson 10, using conditional statements. We will build on this for the rest of the year. Okay, so hopefully that you get this, you understand it today. Okay, conditional statement is a statement, if this, then this. Okay, all right, where here they're saying if P is my hypothesis, Q is the conclusion. So if hypothesis, comma, then conclusion. The hypothesis is everything that comes after the word if and ends at the comma. All right? So, you know, if I said something along the lines of if an animal has 4 legs, comma, the hypothesis is an animal has 4 legs, right? Not the if part, right? It's what comes after the if and goes and stops at the comma. So, you follow me? All right? The conclusion occurs after the word then and goes to the period. It does not include the word then. It just picks up from there. So I said, if I said, if an animal has 4 legs, then it is a horse. All right? It is a horse is my conclusion. All right? Not then it is a horse, just it is a horse. Does that make sense? Follow me? We're there. Okay. So here they use, if it is morning, then the sun is in the east. What is the hypothesis there? What's the hypothesis to this statement? No. Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry. What is the hypothesis of that statement? Chandler.
It is morning.
It is morning. Thank you. Did not include the word if. Stopped at the comma, right? Let's see. Somebody else. Jose, can you tell me what the conclusion is?
The sun is in the east.
Perfect. We're getting it. We're clicking on all cylinders. So if hypothesis, then conclusion. And so we could read all this, but I think that you understand it. The hypothesis of a conditional statement is the part of the statement that is between the words if and then. In the statement above, the hypothesis P is it is morning. The conclusion of the conditional statement is the part of the statement that follows the word then in this statement above, which is Q. The sun is in the east. You guys have got it. We're moving right on. Some conditional statements are true and some are false. All right? If I made a statement, if an animal has 8 legs, then it is a horse. Right? That's not a true statement, is it? No. That would be one freaky horse. I don't want to see an 8-legged horse. It'd be like a spider horse, which that'll give you nightmares. Let's all think about that for a second. All right. Some conditional statements are true and some are false, and this is called the truth value of a conditional statement. A statement is only said or is only false when the hypothesis is true and the conclusion is false. So if an animal has 8 legs is not untrue, right? Are there some things that have 8 legs? Yeah. Okay, but whenever I said then it is a horse, my conclusion was false. So it has a false truth value. Okay? That's just our way of saying that it's false. But the hypothesis has to be something that could actually happen. An animal could have 8 legs. It's just that it can't be a horse. Does that make sense? So, if they made a statement like, if an integer, let's see, I'm trying to think of this. If a natural number was negative, right? Well, that has a false hypothesis because natural numbers aren't negative, are they? No, they have to be positive. Okay, so I've started off with a hypothesis that is wrong. Therefore, it doesn't have a false truth value. There's no part. You can't start off with a false hypothesis. Okay? That's like saying, if the sun is blue, then it will rain today. Right? Well, the sun isn't blue, so we're starting off on the wrong foot to begin with. Okay? So if a rectangle has a width of 5 feet and a height of 4 feet, well, that's possible. Right? That hypothesis is true. Then its area is 30 square feet. Is that true? No, why not? Right, 5 times 4 is 20. So the hypothesis is true, but the conclusion of the statement is false. Since the hypothesis is true, but the conclusion is false, the statement's truth value is false. Truth value is just what we call it. All right, so just because we're using the term truth value doesn't mean that it's got to be true. It's just what we're referring to it as. Okay? Does this make some relative sense? Okay, if you have questions about it, we'll try to keep working on it. So if a conditional statement's hypothesis is false, then the statement could still be true. For example, consider this statement. If, they give you weird names in the book. If AI wins the lottery, he will take a vacation. The hypothesis is false if AI doesn't win the lottery, right? If he doesn't win the lottery, then it's false, but the statement is still true because the statement only applies if he does win the lottery. Okay, so it's still true, but has a possibility for being false, right? It's more than likely that he won't win the lottery, but what's guaranteed? If he does win the lottery, he will take a vacation. All right, so that word if is important. All right, now we're going to talk about converse. So if a conditional statement says if P then Q, converse says if Q then P. It takes the conclusion and forms a hypothesis out of it, takes the hypothesis and forms the conclusion out of it. Okay? Converse is just the flip. Okay? You move it to opposite ends. Okay? So we could go back to our original statement where we said if an animal has 4 legs, then it is a horse, right? Which isn't necessarily true, right? And our converse of it would be if an animal is a horse, then it has 4 legs. That's really a better statement, right? In fact, the converse of that statement wouldn't necessarily be true. All right, so here, converse of a statement is the statement formed by exchanging the hypothesis and the conclusion. The converse statement, if P then Q, becomes if Q then P. Consider this. If it is morning, then the sun is in the east. All right, that's a true conditional statement. All right, here I could ask you what it is, but you're probably just going to read it. The converse is, if the sun is in the east, then it is morning. Still a true statement, right? Its conditional statement is true, and the converse of that statement is true. So even if a conditional statement is true, the converse of that statement may not necessarily be true, right? If you start off with the statement, if an animal is a duck, then it can fly. We would agree with that. That's a good conditional statement. What is the converse of that statement? Katie? What's the converse of that lower statement? What's that?
Which one?
The bottom one, the very bottom one with the duck. What would be the converse of that? Okay, so real quick, tell me what is the hypothesis? An animal is a duck. Okay? What is the conclusion? It can fly. All right, so the only thing that we're going to do different is that when we exchange them, meaning this is going to go here and this is going to go here, is whenever I bring it over, instead of using the word it, what are we actually talking about? An animal. So what is the converse then? If what? No. If an animal can what? If an animal can fly, then what? If an animal can fly, then remember we're moving this over to the conclusion. Then what? Okay, so maybe the better way to write that is if an animal can fly, then it is a duck. So leave the it and leave the animal, all right? But we're going to move the can fly and the is a duck, okay? All right, so we started off with this. If an animal is a duck, then it can fly. We agreed with that. But let's talk about the converse of that statement. If an animal can fly, then it is a duck. Is that true? Always? What's that? No. All right, because we can come up with plenty of instances where we saw something flying that was not a duck. All right, so that's what we get down here. If an animal can fly, then it is a duck. that converse is not necessarily true. All right, that's it for that, but let's look at some questions here. All right, we want to look for the statement that has a false truth value. In order for something to have a false truth value, what must be true? What part of the statement has to be true? The hypothesis has to be true. What do we have to know about the conclusion? What must the conclusion be? False, right? Yeah. All right, so let's look at this. If a polygon is equilateral, can a polygon be equilateral? Can a polygon have sides that are all the same length? A polygon is any closed geometric figure where all the sides are straight. Okay? So it can be triangles, squares, rectangles, pentagons, octagons, nonagons. Okay? All right? So a polygon can be equilateral, right? All right, good. So I'm going to use blue for true. I'm going to use red for false. Okay? We are looking for something that is blue, then red, if that helps. Okay? Then it is a regular polygon. Is something that is equilateral also regular? What does the term regular mean? Regular polygon. Now, this is getting into some stuff that maybe we haven't addressed yet. What is regular? No. Okay, so because you're not familiar with this, I'm going to cover this audibly. Okay? A regular polygon is a polygon that has all sides the same length and all interior angles are congruent. Okay? Can I have a polygon that has all sides congruent but does not have all interior angles congruent? Which one is it? Well, we could probably come up with, take a line here and take a line here that are the same length and take a line here that's the same length and take a line here and take, now I've got a pentagon, but are all those angles the same? No. Okay? So this is not necessarily true. Okay? Now, if I looked at the rest of this, if an angle is obtuse, can an angle be obtuse? Yeah, an angle can be obtuse. Then the angle measures greater than 90 degrees. Is that the definition of obtuse? So that's true. Okay? If two lines intersect twice, can two lines intersect more than one time? How? Show me two lines that intersect. Two lines that intersect more than one time.
Two straight lines, like just two.
Just two. Two lines. No. Right. Okay, so that's false. Okay? Then they'll form complementary angles. Well, I'm false there essentially. But as soon as I wound up with red on the hypothesis side, it wasn't going to work. If a pentagon has fewer than 5 sides, is that true? No, because by definition, a pentagon has 5 sides. It can't have fewer than 5 sides. So if we're looking for true then false, only A will work. Okay? Do we understand this so far? All right, so I'm going to stop there. I'm going to give you about 9 minutes to work. I'll walk around. I'll help you. If you get stuck on something, let me know, okay? All right.